Hello, lore nerds. Today, we continue our covering of Forgotten Realms history. So, we've finally gone through the Age of Thunder and all that came before it. And although future videos may cover more specific things or people from that time period, we're going to continue through somewhat chronologically. So, next up is the Dawn Age, which this video will describe before delving deeper into its events in further videos. There's various things with the giants, dragons, humans, elves that I might cover more specifically, but for now, it is a broad overview for the next few minutes. The Dawn Age is a period of 6,000 years spanning from negative 30,000 DR to negative 24,000 DR. It's also known as the Age of Dawn, the Time of Dragons, which you'll see why soon, or the Time of Giants. The notable thing is that by now the creator races have just disappeared, freeing the world up for other races. Unfortunately, it's also a time of near constant war for everyone on Faerun, which sucked. It did, however, spawn great empires and kingdoms, which is pretty cool. Also, an interesting thing to note is that dragons and giants were stronger during this age than they are now, which is pretty interesting. There seems to be a possibility that these two races are growing weaker over time for some reason, or possibly that the conditions during this age, with both having larger empires, they're more unified and everything, simply allowed them to grow stronger due to greater resources and stuff. Scholars place the start of this age at the first flight of dragons, when dragons led a somewhat coordinated assault on the Aeri, practically wiping them out. The Aeri were one of the creator races we discussed in the previous video. The dragons, then got into a lot of conflicts with giants over territory, forcing giants to flee up north. Now, at first, the dragons and giants were actually tolerating each other, but then there's, personal territorial disputes, sharing hunting grounds, etc. They eventually just grew into them all out trying to kill each other, and war breakouts. That's how that happened. So, individual dragons and dragon clans also fought with each other for territory and also religious reasons, as dragons during this time actually worship the draconic pantheon, which includes deities such as Asgarath, Bahamut, Tiamat, Garrux, Null, Sardior, and a few others. Dragons nowadays are nowhere near as religious, although sometimes there is a resurgence, cult of Tiamat, all of that kind of stuff. I will also definitely at some point go into more depth on the giant kingdom of Astoria and the dragon kingdoms at this time. I'm just broadly covering the time period right now, so we'll get to that later. Partially because of these wars, dragons decided that gods weren't really worthy of their worship, and now largely apathetic towards higher powers. If their gods are just allowing all of these wars to happen, why the hell would you worship them, kind of deal. This should probably have happened sooner, because these draconic holy wars nearly caused dragons to go extinct. It was a very dangerous and bad time for everyone involved. During this time, many humanoids, humans and demi-humans, all that kind of stuff, were enslaved by dragons. Even the metallic, good guy dragons did a bit of this slavery. And although some sources do say that they are kind of nicer about it, it's still pretty messed up. These dragons that now try to portray themselves as all, goody two shoes and all of that kind of stuff. They enslave people. That's not cool. Oh god, yeah, slavery. Not fun. Dragons basically did so much stuff during the Dawn Age that the alternate name Time of Dragons is pretty damn accurate. Most of what happened during this period is because of them. The whole enslaving and then the fighting with the giants, and then the we'll get to there's another rage of dragons, which is also a big thing. This really is just the time of dragons. It's all about dragons. So when the first Rage of the Dragons happened, which was pretty apocalyptic, kind of, sort of, end of the world kind of stuff. Um, so basically, what happened is that this comet type thing called the King Killer star appeared, and this comet just makes dragons go absolutely crazy and start destroying everything. So, you know, they went crazy. And this spanned a period of a few 10 days. And, for those of you who don't know, like I didn't until I was researching this video, 10 days is a Faerunian time measurement that's a period of 10 days. So, yeah, this whole thing probably lasted at least 30 days, which is oof. So some scholars say that the King Killer star is linked to the Draco Rage mythal, which is was a thing made by the elves in negative 25,000 DR. So every Rage of Dragons, which yes, there are multiple, every one of them is kind of the elves' fault, or at least that specific group of elves. Also, when a Rage of Dragons is more localized, it's called a Flight of Dragons, which means that the first Flight of Dragons was when the Aerie fell, their whole empire fell. So that was linked to this comet, showing how bad these events are since it destroyed an entire advanced civilization. Also, a little bit confusing then, because at least that instance of the King Killer star could not have been linked to the Draco Rage mythal, since that happened 5,000 years before the mythal was made. Also, I will probably explain what a mythal is in a future video. For now, just think of this as like a very powerful magic construct orb thing, that can do really powerful arcane effects. Essentially, I'll describe it better in a future video, probably on the elves. So yeah, luckily these Rage of Dragons usually thousands of years apart. Sometimes not quite that. Sometimes as many thousands of years apart. They say it's regular, but I don't seem to be able to see much of a pattern. And when it appears, it's just every few thousand years, this thing might appear in the sky, and bam, the dragons are going to start messing things up. And all of them will go insane and start destroying everything. And apparently now, the dragons aren't really affected by it anymore, which is on the one hand cool, no more dragon rages, but also it means that the dragons now would be able to actually make another empire, since they're not going to go insane every couple thousand years, which is also terrifying. Because, who knows, maybe we're going to get a Time of Dragons 2 Electric Boogaloo. So yeah, the first Rage of Dragons basically destroyed their own empire, which allowed the elves to build their own empires, which started the age known as the First Flowering, which we're going to cover in a future video. That is, the next age, and that's cool. So yeah, that's the Dawn Age. Some pretty cool, interesting things happened. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we're definitely going to go more in depth on specific parts of it in future soon videos. So do look forward to those. And yeah, I'll see you next time on the next video.